Chapter 2. On the Principle of Actions. Come closer, my son, for today the old man speaks of beginning and ending battles. In life, you don't just have to think about starting the fight, you also have to know when to stop. If you stay too long in the same battle, even victory becomes deep weariness, you know. A tired troop, a worn sword, and a heavy heart end any beautiful war, my son. Insisting too much on the same thing can destroy you slowly without you even realizing it, you see. The book says that a long war discourages soldiers and dulls their weapons. It's like a job that sucks you dry for years, without joy, only obligation and fear, my son. Even earning a salary inside, you're wasting away, losing your sparkle and will to live. If you besiege a city for too long, you tire your people, spend everything, and nothing happens, my son. Life is insisting on a dead relationship, a failed business, a dream that has become a heavy prison. Keeping an army on the road for too long depletes the people's supplies and strength. Weapons are instruments of bad luck. Overuse brings misfortune everywhere. Anger is the same. Too long kept inside, my son, it poisons your very soul. Whoever lives in a constant state of war, sooner or later dies from the same war they created. Pay attention. One who kills by iron dies by iron, says the proverb. And that applies to words and attitudes as well. When the troops are tired, the swords are dull, and food is scarce, even a friend becomes a risk, my son. Exhausted people lose respect, patience, and begin to turn against their own leader. In your life, when everything is heavy, even those who like you may distance themselves to protect themselves. Not even wise advice works properly when everyone is broken inside. Pay attention. Hence the old man warns, don't prolong the war too much or you will lose strength and also the people. The book says that one has heard of a quick attack, but never of a good long war. A true specialist solves things quickly. Don't keep beating your head against the same wall for years. It's never good for the country to be an endless military operation. It always falls on the people, and they suffer. In your life, a prolonged problem becomes an open wound that inflames everything around it, my son. You weren't born to live in eternal combat. You were born to learn, fight, and also rest. Be quick like thunder that gives a fright before people cover their ears, says the book, my son. Be swift like lightning that cuts across the sky before you can even blink your right eye. This isn't reckless rushing, it's acting at the right time without prolonging suffering. Pay attention. Handle those hard conversations fast. Don't let them become a chestnut over years. Cut off vices, debts, and toxic friendships before they grow and take over your entire soul. Who can't see the harm of excessive gun use, can't see the benefit of using it carefully. If you only want to fight and force things, you don't know when to use dialogue and calm. All excess hurts. Even something too good becomes a burden when it goes too far. Strength is important, but without limits it becomes stupidity, and stupidity exacts a high price later on. Those with sense plan carefully, act calmly, and avoid having to mobilize their hearts twice. Son, a smart man doesn't reshuffle troops twice or thrice for the same thing. That only tires you out, my son. They don't send for food for the same objective all the time. They learn to solve things once and for all. You must have up eating the same family argument 1,000 times. It's pointless. Those with sense plan carefully, act calmly, and avoid having to mobilize their hearts twice.
Those with sense plan carefully, act calmly, and avoid having to mobilize their hearts twice. Once you've won, you don't go back home to mobilize everything again on the same issue from the movie in life. Once you've overcome an addiction, a bad cycle, you don't go back to the same wheel thinking it's all just fun. First, you sustain your troops with your resources, then you draw sustenance from your own difficulties. If you start with your own strength, then you learn to use the problem to strengthen your journey.
If instead of always draining your family, you learn to take advantage of the situation, you become lighter. In war, taking supplies from the enemy is better than taking them from your own people, says the book. Fool in life is about learning from the mistakes of others, from your own past falls, so you don't bleed the same way. It's about using what hurt you as a lesson to avoid repeating the same painful story. That way you don't break your foundation and you grow, using what was against you to your advantage. In war, countries impoverished because they source food from too far away, consuming it all en route. Transporting supplies from distant places leaves the people weakened without resources. It's too much of a burden. In your life, this is wasting energy where it doesn't yield results far from what really matters. It's living chasing after other people's dreams, forgetting your home, your health, your soul. The farther you go to seek sustenance, the more expensive it becomes, and your body and your heart pay the price. Those who live near the army may even make money, but the rest of the people suffer in silence. Around the war, some profit, but most lose peace, time, and hope. In life, your problem may become profit for someone else, but it's still pain for those who love you. A long feud generates gossip and spectacle, but destroys the trust and well-being of those involved. A long campaign, whether in the world or in the heart, always leaves a heavy scar. When money runs low, government raises taxes and people tighten their belts and brace themselves. In life, when you spend everything on a useless war, you start demanding from others what you didn't give. It becomes an unfair demand, a loveless requirement, an inner cry that no one truly understands. Your power and your reserves run out, and you go bankrupt emotionally, spiritually, and financially as well. The people lose much of what they produce, while spending on weapons and defense only increases. Notice.
Book says, the people are the foundation of the country and food is joy, comfort for the heart, my son. In your life, the people are your family, your true friends who walk alongside you. Food is sustenance for the soul and body. Respect, affection, bread. You don't even need to respect this principle, spending less on vanity and more on essentials.
An intelligent general fights to cut off the enemy's food supply, not to cut off his own people's. Each portion taken from the enemy is worth 20 that didn't leave home, little or nothing. Notice. In life, it's better to solve a problem with the resources of the problem than to hurt those who love you. Use the energy of the difficult situation to change course without hurting those who are with you even more. That way you win without leaving your people destroyed, breathless, without faith, without solid ground beneath their feet.
What devastates the enemy is his own recklessness and the desire of his people to cut off others' advantages. In life, those who get lost are those who act without thinking, without limits, thinking it will never end, my son. When you reward your men with what was yours, your adversary will fight with more determination in your life. It's about using conquest to bless those who stood by your side during difficult times. Pay attention. By measuring gain, you create true loyalty and people fight for love, not just obligation.
That's why it said, where there is great reward, brave men appear to fight. In chariot battles, the first to take 10 is the first to be honored, the book says. But if you try to please everyone equally, without criteria, nothing truly touches the heart. Choose well who to show as an example, to encourage others to give their best as well. A distorted reward creates envy and discouragement among the people.
Change the colors of captured enemy soldiers and mix them into your own troop, my son. Instead of destroying the enemy, transform your enemy into a useful ally with care and attention in your life. Welcoming the genuinely changed and those who've repented is key. But do it with criteria and by treating them well, teaching them another way of living without foolish naivete. When a prisoner becomes a partner, their strength increases without expending new life. That is wisdom.
Prisoners should be treated well so that they can with grateful hearts. That means. In life, people who were once against you can become great allies if treated with respect and firmness. Defeating an adversary and then combining their strength with your own is a double victory. Notice if you use the enemy to defeat the enemy, you become powerful wherever you step. Trauma becomes a tool, pain becomes a lesson, and everything that hurts you becomes a bridge to help more people.
The most important military goal is victory. It's not stubborn insistence without persistence that only prolongs suffering, but virtue that follows the mask of courage.
The army is like fire.
Failing to put it out promptly, it destroys even its igniter. In your life, fighting without knowing when to stop becomes a wildfire that burns out your relationship. This is important when to start, but remember,
whoever is at the head of the army holds the lives of many innocent people in the palm of their hand. In your life, you are that leader when you choose the path of your family, your team, or your soul. Every decision you make affects the security of those who trust you, even without saying anything. So don't interfere in any war, One should not prolong a fight that should have ended long ago.